Sketch made this.
Just when you thought you'd had enough of the warehouse, it's time to do some more surveillance there. Before you do, be sure to check out Wilmore's answering machine to find a message left by his ex-wife and daughter.
Hi, Craig. It's Barbara. I was just calling to see how you're doing. Hope you don't mind. Well, we're here at Mom's. Mom says hello, by the way. Anyway, Happy Easter. We miss you, and we're thinking of you. Bye-bye. Oh, here, Elizabeth wants to speak to you.
Hi, Dadu. I miss you. Happy Easter. Bye-bye.
Take care of yourself, okay? Bye.
I know it's supposed to help build character and emotion, and don't get me wrong, it does, but every time I play this game, it just leaves me with the feeling that his ex keeps doing everything in her power to dick with Craig. The letter earlier, the "we miss you" at the end of this. Seriously, I know they have a child and she's probably been friendly because of that, but geez, the poor guy's clearly hurting still, and judging by some of the entries in the journal on his nightstand, knows that his job keeps coming before his family no matter how hard he tries. Give him a break! Getting back on point, head to the warehouse to find a truck parked outside. Do not hang around in the area that you're parked in for too long though, as, well, let's just say my favourite part of the game happens. Not a nitpick, just a curiosity. Where did this guy come from, and how long has he been waiting in the dark for the opportunity to take Craig from behind? More to the point, why doesn't he follow you when you go out to the truck? I guess the implication could be that he's the driver, but everything we've seen here up to this point has always involved several armed guys, not just one on his own. I know I'm rambling and thinking too hard about such an insignificant thing, but it just seems a bit odd and unlike any of the actions we've seen before. Anyway, get your ass in the cab of the truck. Try to refrain from turning the key in the ignition, unless you again want to see my favourite part and be forced to load from your last save point. Look to the right, don't unintentionally get out of the passenger side door like I accidentally did here, and open the glove compartment to find a scrap of paper with a train yard address scribbled on it. That's all you have to do here, so leave the truck ASAP. No, seriously, get out quick. Everything here seems to be running on a timer and set to kill you if you don't move fast enough. And if you hang around too long, the driver comes back and cue my favourite part again. Nope, still not sick of it. So, you think that your next location would be the rural route that you just got the address for. But you'd actually be wrong. Open your PDA after the truck leaves and you'll get a notification about an email. Check it out. You can read it on your PDA. There's no need to view it on a computer. To discover that it's from the Harbour Master. Anybody else remember him? Yeah, me neither. Anyway, he sent you the phone numbers for the company that owned the warehouse, Majestic Shipping. Because I'm stupid and clearly haven't learnt the point I've been trying to drill into your heads about how very little in this game actually contributes anything to the plot, I wasted the minutes of time it takes to type in a number on the console version of the phone only to discover that neither one actually does anything.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
I guess the fact that Captain Birdseye emailed from a temporary account should have given a clue that it may not be legitimate. But you know what? He could have just disappeared and never been heard from again. Hell, I was surprised when I got the message. But he took the time to essentially troll me with useless information. And that's not even me misusing the info. I checked the official game guide and there is no mention about this email whatsoever. Not even to say, don't bother trying to phone the shipping company. They're fake and dialing on the console phone is such a tedious, laborious task that you'd be better off putting your time into engaging yourself in the stupid story of this game. Admittedly, the harbour master more than likely didn't know the company was nothing more than a front, but then that just leaves the fact that the game itself is trolling me. Which I probably should have realised from the beginning. Sorry, I wasted more energy ranting about that than I expected. So, yeah, instead of trying to find the rural route on your map, head home, put Craigie to bed, and then go grab a cup of coffee while you wait for Disc 3 to boot up on your PlayStation. Oh shit! I'm back!
Do I have news?
Good morning.
What's the matter with you?
I worked last night. What's the matter with you?
I didn't.
What time is it?
Almost noon. We have a burn victim, and the injuries appear to match those sustained by the crew of the Terracon. I have the whole thing on tape. Let me just rewind it. Hey, it's not flashing midnight. Impressive. I like a man who's not afraid of technology.
So, if he didn't set the time on his video recorder, would she stop flirting with him? Maybe that's why his wife really divorced him, and he just sets it now so that he has a better chance with the ladies. Also, you totally know that Cook was probably the one that really set it.
How do you know about the Terracon injury?
I got the original autopsy reports. I have them if you want to see them.
Who's the victim?
A John Doe. He was a truck driver for Gordon's Hauling in Charno.
Where did you get the videotape?
Surveillance cam at the gas station. It's not great video, but it still shows the thing.
What thing?
You'll see.
What time did this occur?
6:17 a.m. this morning.
That could be Mulder's rental car. Same make. That looks like Mulder.
Have you seen him?
No, just photos. That guy was at the warehouse last night. Different truck. Same company, Gordon's Hauling.
Charno, Washington. So, what do you think?
What was that?
I have no idea, but his injuries are identical to those from the Terracon, and all of the gas station's electronic equipment stopped working. So what do you think it is?
That light looked like it was coming out of that man's body.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? So what the hell was that all about? Sounds like you have a fax. The body's over at Truett's right now. I'm gonna head on over there and see what she's found out. Oh, I got that Cyrillic document translated. Get this, it was a payroll log. And guess who was on it? Wong. He was paid almost $30,000 in the last 2 months, so I am convinced that the murder was mob-related. Probably because you questioned him. So I guess you did get him killed. I've turned the case over to the task force.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Okay, seriously? That's like the third time she's inferred that I'm responsible for Wong's death. Talk about trying to make me feel guilty. I wouldn't mind if he'd blurted out any useful details, but he contributed absolutely nothing! Don't bother paging through the Cyrillic translation sheets. Besides a few really boring journal entries at the end, there's nothing of interest in them. Go collect the fax, which documents the test results on the iron sphere you collected on the Terra... Wait, what? It was a nuclear materials container? And I was making jokes about Wilmore throwing that thing around earlier. But this This just makes his actions even worse. Residue levels of radiation remaining in the interior storage portion. Hazardous to humans. Oh! I'm so glad we took out that central piece and waved it under Astadoria's nose. Suddenly that comment about her needing coffee seems less flippant. Oh, hand the facts to Astadorian, go through the discussion points, grin and bear your way through all the plutonium smuggling bullshit.
Where does Terracon fit into all this?
Obviously, they were part of the smuggling. Either they fried themselves mishandling plutonium, or someone had them killed.
And decide whether to agree with her decision to go to the morgue or suggest going to the hauling yard first. Bearing in mind that if you pick the first option, you'll have this.
Can I shower first?
I don't know, can you?
I may need some help.
Disturbing thought stuck in your brain for the next fortnight.
Then I guess you better call that partner of yours. I hear Cook scrubs a mean back.
Actually, that made picking that option totally worth it. Damn it, these two are far too good for this game. While trying to scrub the disturbing thought of Cook washing Craig's back in the shower out of your head, navigate your way across the map back into the coroner's office. Because, you know, she was such a ray of sunshine to hang out with last time.
Gotta hate coming here.
Lady, I know the feeling. The fact that I pretty much feel it everywhere else in this game is beside the point, but here, yes, I definitely agree.
As near as I can tell, this man wasn't burned to death in any ordinary sense. He has all the appearances of suffering from Hiroshima-like radiation exposure.
What makes you think it's radiation?
Well, first off, I don't know much about it.
I let this slide last time around, but seriously? Problem number 11! How the f*** is this woman a medical examiner? No wonder Scully wanted to re-examine the bodies. Every time this woman talks, I desperately want to use the Game of Thrones clip. You know what? Just screw it. Just...
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Every time Wilmot asks a question about the autopsy results, she insists that she's not the expert or just doesn't know much. How can she perform an autopsy and fill out a report if she doesn't know what the f*** causes any of these burns, etc.? Oh, it looks like pictures I've seen from Hiroshima. Well, by that count then, Astadorian could have performed the examinations. I was going to brand this as awful, unimaginative writing, but literally as I was writing the script for this part of the rant, something turned up on my Facebook newsfeed where I learned that as of 2011, it was discovered 1 in 5 practitioners at Emmy and coroner offices in the US were not board certified in forensic pathology, but still determining causes of death. Now, I don't know if this was the kind of character Hyperbole Studios were aiming for. Twitter's never seen again, and even her ING entry is completely blank, which is astounding considering some of the backstories they've built for less important characters. But unless they were just trying to make everybody look incompetent compared to the godlike Dana Scully and Fox Mulder, there's no reason for her to look this frickin' stupid.
But he was burned from head to toe. Literally. Fire damage never does that. Secondly, I cut his clothes off him. They were pretty much undamaged. You see this? That's the imprint of the logo from his shirt. That's caused by thermic rays. Similar effects were observed at Hiroshima. Kimono patterns were burned into the skin of the wearer. Inverse shadows of objects were permanently etched into walls.
Could mishandling radioactive materials cause burns like this?
Again, I don't think so, but I don't know much about it. Mishandling radioactive materials might account for Mr. Wong's tumors, but a burn like this would have to be a blast of some sort.
Any leads on the missing Terracon crew?
No. Whoever did it was good. They got in here, got the bodies without leaving a trace of any kind.
Are there any similarities between this and the Terracon victims?
The effects are almost identical. We didn't figure it out with the Terracon because, well, it really didn't occur to us.
So, you're saying that had Wilmore never suggested radiation, you wouldn't have considered it? Considering how she just spewed a load of stuff about thermic waves and Hiroshima, you just know she was probably frantically searching the internet for research before we came back.
I mean, this is highly unusual stuff, you know. Sometimes we don't see the extraordinary even when it's right in front of us because well, we just weren't expecting it.
It's a radiation burn. I know we know what caused it, but why is she making it sound more paranormal than she thinks it is? After that completely pointless scene that contributed absolutely nothing to the plot, head to the Gordon's hauling yard up in Chano for easily one of the best scenes in the whole game.
Well, they're obviously not very security-minded.
I know, with all this nice stuff around, too.
That's the same truck from the warehouse. We're obviously in the right place.
Apart from the occasional drum machine playing in the background, which reeks of so much 80s cheese it's almost maddening. Head into the first office in the building and beside the filing cabinet ahead of you, you'll spot a shovel. Pick it up. You can also pick up the wire cutters from the tool bag in the same spot, but you really don't need them. I'll explain why in a second. Now, search through the pile of papers on the floor under the window to your right and pick up the book there. Wow, Avon salesmen in the States are desperate to make you buy their stuff, aren't they?
Are you all right?
It's okay. I found what we're looking for.
What is it?
Look at this. It's a manifest. It details a number of shipments between that dockside warehouse and rural Route 1121 in Fanta County, Washington.
I guess I know where we're headed. This wasn't a wasted trip after all.
Great, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Craig, that's destruction of evidence. You could have taken the whole logbook instead of tearing out that one page.
We're locked in.
And here we go with yet another awesome scene that I have to mar with problem number 12. Way back at the start of the game, I don't know if you noticed, but the post-title sequence credits listed that William B. Davis, aka the cigarette smoking man, was a guest star. We've waited 3 discs, but finally it's time to see the show's best villain make a shady appearance. Pour the fire alarm beside the door and wait for him to appear, leer and wisecrack at you for a puff of smoke. Wait, what? Is that it? No, surely he turns up later. You're kidding, right? No, of course not. This is literally the only footage of old Smokey in the whole freaking game. And even worse, pulling the fire alarm is not a guaranteed way to see him. I've seen him turn up for one of the other death scenes at this location, and I've done a playthrough before with all the death scenes where he never turned up at all. Even Pendrell had a bigger role than this. Hell, the Black Oil has a better role than this. They couldn't even give him a tiny little line to say. I've been bitching about Mulder and Scully not being around, but at least I can blame that on Duchovny and Anderson's shooting schedules for both the TV series and, a little later, the first X-Files movie, Fight the Future. I don't know what Bill Davis was up to around that time, but they really dragged him out to that location to do nothing but light a cigarette? I mean, sure, it's an iconic image for his character, but you can't have a story focused on the black oil and not have a single recognisable member of the syndicate lurking in the background. As pretty as this explosion is to watch, I shouldn't have to keep reloading the game and triggering different death scenarios just to get a 2-second silent glimpse of a show favourite. Oh, so instead of looking at the fire alarm, turn back to face the filing cabinet you found the shovel next to, and as the Dorian would discover a bomb in one of the drawers. You only have about 45 seconds to get out of the room, and if you don't know what to do or didn't pick up the shovel before this scene triggered, it's easy to make this happen. Then again, you can try using those wire cutters on the bomb and instantly trigger the same... Wait, who was that? Oh, it was the guy who locked us in there. Is he working for CSM? Why is seeing him witness the explosion such a random event? Much like with Cancer Man, I couldn't find a guaranteed way to make this variant of the death scene play. There seem to be at least 4 different versions of the explosion ending, 2 of which are just different angles of the same event. I get that this was probably an expensive stunt to film, but a lot of work seems to have been put in to present different endings for something you're not even supposed to let happen. All other deaths pretty much only have one available FMV to watch. I'm not complaining, I'm just trying to say that it's kind of sad that so much effort has finally been applied to this game 3 discs in and on a scene that is so small in the grand scheme of the rest of the plot. Anyway, getting back to how to actually escape this room. There are 2 places you can use the shovel. The first is on the grated window to the right, which is completely pointless and wastes precious seconds. For the correct exit, look at the refrigerator left of the door you entered the room through, and you'll see another door with a Seattle College t-shirt hanging on it. Look down to find the grate in the bottom of that door and use the shovel on that. How the heck a fully grown man fits through that hole is beyond me, but whatever. I'm too busy being blown away by the amazing artwork in the strategy guide showing what you needed to be looking for in the scene. Clearly somebody was let loose on Microsoft Paint that day.
Oh, it's times like this I wish I still smoked.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, I find things like this quite bracing.
So I guess you're gonna want me to drive.
That would be a nice gesture.
I never survived a bomb before.
Yeah, well, it happens to me all the time.
You have a limited chance to try Kiss Acid, Dorian, so be quick.
You probably shouldn't do that. I mean, I would love for you to, don't get me wrong, but we should probably wait until this case is wrapped before we go tampering with the evidence.
Even if you've been bitchy with her up to this point, still make the move, because her utter disgust is hilarious.
Whoa, back up, buckaroo. You need help, you know that? I mean, you're quite attractive, but my mother told me not to go out with government men.
Although, even then, I have to be slightly perturbed by the notion that these two haven't even known each other for 48 hours, and already Mr. I Miss My Wife is making such bold moves, adrenaline or not.
Who was that guy? He was incredibly strong.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression. You think he works out?
There was something weird about his eyes. Did you see that?
No, I was too busy being knocked across the room to catch that little detail.
Time to make Wilmore sound either thoughtful or like a raving lunatic again.
He seemed... there was something wrong with him. Almost like he was being controlled by something.
Considering how off guard these two were caught, I don't know where the f Craig gets this theory from, in that second that he caught a glimpse of the attacker before being thrown across the room, did he get a deep insight into the guy's soul as well? What Craig should really be asking himself right now is, how did somebody creep up on the trained federal agent in an otherwise silent building? Unless he was distracted by the cheesy drum machine as well.
So, who owns the hauling yard?
Duh, Russian mobsters.
I guess we know why the gate was left open.
I mean, it wasn't just small-town coziness.
No. Gate was left open so somebody would get in there and set that bomb off.
Yeah, but was it meant for us or that guy?
Was the bomb meant as a trap, or was it protecting something in the office?
Like what?
Information in that logbook? The rural route address, for instance?
Well, anything in there would be pretty hard to read now, that's for sure. I think the bomb was meant to trap and kill somebody. Are you ready to go? I sure am. You're driving, remember?
Right.
One, the logbook is the only thing we gain by coming here and is, of course, completely pointless in the grand scheme of the plot. And two, what the f*** are you talking about? We got the rural route address back in that truck. We could have gone there already. But no, instead we had to come here for nothing more than a game-changing action scene, which I do actually like despite its flaws, that starts a trend of tiny scenes being used to fill the hole for the rest of the game. As I said earlier, the game does pick up from here, and I stand by the fact that it is much more enjoyable as a result. But I find something slightly tedious and pointless about these tiny scenes where we go somewhere, either do or say or just watch a couple things, and then leave again. We've had Wilmer wake up, talk with Astadorian about the video, go to the morgue and come here, and yet it's then time again to put him back to bed. Considering we've had pretty long investigative days up to this point, the change of pace is somewhat jarring.